This is the Dodgers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Dodgers just cruising along 7-0, undefeated. Can we say it one more time? 162-0, still in play. Well, they looked good again tonight, late in the game. The first five, there wasn't a whole lot of anything going on. We'll get to all the details. We'll get to the player of the game and what we'll be talking about. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's edition of the Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you play your first $5 bet, and that bet wins. 3-1 the final tonight to improve to 7-0. What is meaningful about that?
This is what you'll be talking about.
Well, it is the longest undefeated winning streak for a defending champion in the history of baseball, tied with the 1933 New York Yankees. So this is something very special that the Dodgers are doing right now. Just playing with a ton of confidence, not 100%. Freddie Freeman out again tonight. Max Muncy didn't play because lefty on lefty with Chris Sale on the mound. By the way, this starting pitching matchup was a battle of knees and elbows because both Sale and Dustin May have those long legs and long arms and are just lanky, and they're throwing everything at you. Quite a monumental night for Dustin May. Hasn't pitched in 22 and a half months. And I had completely forgotten about the whole torn esophagus thing because he had Tommy John, and then they went in to do some tendon work on the elbow and I guess redid the Tommy John or touched it up, a little tune up on the Tommy John surgery from 2022. And then he was a month away, I guess, from getting ready to start rehabbing and come back for the Dodgers. And I'm sure you guys heard the story. I'm just saying it in the event that you didn't. He didn't necessarily choke on a piece of lettuce, but he was eating a salad and the lettuce got stuck in his throat. It sounds too unbelievable. I remember commenting on it that it was a chicken bone because that's what I thought I read. And I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't even believe it was true. It sounds too crazy to be real. And it gets even crazier when you think that it's lettuce. So the lettuce got lodged in his esophagus, in his throat. He didn't feel right, tried to wash it down with water, and that made him feel worse. So I heard the story both on the radio from Steven Nelson and on TV from Joe Davis. Their stories were a little different. Joe said that they finished dinner and went home and he wasn't feeling right, and then they went to the ER. Steven Nelson said they left the restaurant and went straight to the ER. Either way, that night, they did 7 hours of surgery on Dustin May to remove this piece of lettuce from his esophagus, and they said he's got a scar from like his, just below his collarbone down to the middle of his chest, like open heart surgery kind of scar. And they said if he had gone home, he would have died, more than likely. I'm like, are you kidding me? From a piece of lettuce? That is absolutely insanity. So I guess the moral of the story here is tell your kids, and you as well, to chew your food, especially lettuce. I told my daughter the story when I picked her up from volleyball, and she was like, what? And I said, the moral of the story here is you got to chew your food. And she said, okay, I promise I will. But yeah, he came out hot. You could tell he was nervous, deep breathing, closing the eyes, trying to focus. I've heard mixed stories about Dustin May's personality. I didn't see that tonight. The story I've heard is that he's not a good teammate. When his teammates try to congratulate him after a good inning, he's kind of resistant to that. Reportedly, there was a story that Dave Roberts was trying to congratulate him at some point, and he was kind of like, leave me alone. I'm just here doing my job. What else do you expect from me? I don't need any rah crap. Now, I don't know if any of that's true, but I do know the story about people calling him Ginger Guard, like Cinder Guard, which is, I don't think they were saying it to be derogatory. I mean, he is a ginger, but they were saying it as a term of endearment because Noah Syndergaard is a hell of a good pitcher. And, he is similar in nature, size-wise and delivery-wise and all of that. And he said, don't call me Ginger Guard. He didn't like that. So I was like, lighten up, dude. I mean, like, quit being so grumpy. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this guy. I do feel sorry for him, and I'm glad that he is back and returned from that horrific incident with the lettuce. It's absolutely insane. So you could see why he was so emotional about tonight's performance. And ultimately, when you get right down to it, it was fantastic. Struck out the side in the first inning and pretty much rolled from there, giving up just one hit.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
You got to give it to Dustin May. I mean, 22 and a half months, hadn't pitched, to come back like this against a Braves team that is obviously not good, but motivated. They have to be fired up, trying to get a win. Now 0-6. Here's Dustin May's line. 1 run on 1 hit. Not his fault. It was an error on Mookie Betts. 6 Ks and 3 walks. So 81 pitches on the night. An unearned run for him. Did not get the win. Tanner Scott came in for the save. Trinan, Vesia, and Bonda out of the bullpen. Bonda's now 2-0. He threw 29 pitches, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, and 1 hit. Vesia tonight was the best pitcher the Dodgers had. As good as Dustin May was, let me rephrase. The best reliever the Dodgers had. Tanner Scott looked very good, 10 pitches, but Vesia was dealing, bringing the heat, and just fired up as he always is. That's what you get from Alex Vesia. But tonight looked really, really good. Got robbed by the home plate umpire who had Phil Cuzzy, had a rough night. Lots of missed calls. Most of them were against the Dodgers. A couple of the bad balls and strikes went in favor of the Dodgers. But Vesia threw one at the bottom of the zone that was without a doubt inning-ending strike 3, and he called it a ball. And then there was a few more pitches. So I think he would have got out of that inning with 6 or 7 pitches if Cuzzy or the umpire, robot umpire, was in effect, and everything, went as it should. But that was not to be. But he looked really good. Bonda looked good. Across the board, the Dodgers pitching has looked fantastic this year thus far. Tanner Scott has been a little bit off. His ERA is 5.40 now after a good outing today. It was up mid-6s after his last outing, but today threw 10 pitches and zeros across the board. So I think that's what most of you are expecting to see from Tanner Scott. And I think BC hit the nail on the head right here. Historic dominance for the Dodgers. Yeah, they get a lead and the game's over, right? You don't feel like that there's any sort of doubt. Now, look, the Braves are not good. Again, they're in the middle of a horrific streak as the American League East favorites. I don't know how this finished up. I'm assuming at this pace or worse, but the Braves are 1 for 31 with runners in scoring position. 1 for 31. It might have gotten a little worse, but I don't recall any other. That was through 4 innings. I don't recall anybody else getting into scoring position. So yeah, they're stinking up the joint in a big way. So Dodgers taking advantage, and we'll look for a sweep tomorrow. We'll get into Chris Sale's numbers. He started off very good for Atlanta. The Dodgers just got to him in the 6th. We'll break that down after the break. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports. The Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel where we reside nowadays. Make sure you check out Jeff and Vince if you want a longer, more in-depth look at this game or what is going on in the Dodgers world. They're on Monday through Friday with the Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast. We'll take the break and come back. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here. We're down to the final 4 seeds. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. That's going to be tough with 4 seeds. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories. Although there are no more Cinderella stories. There haven't been any for quite a while in this tournament. It's been chalk for a good portion of this tournament after the second round. So get in on that action, or if you're not into basketball, then there's plenty to offer on FanDuel when it comes to baseball, whether it's strikeouts, on-base percentage, total bases. There's a slew of different things you can bet on there. So head over to FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Tonight's episode also brought to you by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that is made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website with helpful resources and the latest product info can help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Join the Trade Masters program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. They have an 800 number that you can use and free shipping. The 800 number is pretty cool. Like if you don't know how to install a part or you need a refresher course or you're stumped, something's not working right, you just call that number and they will walk you through it. So join the Supply House Trade Masters program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies in just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. So the 6th inning is when the Dodgers turned this one around. They were down 1-0 after Mookie made a throwing error on a double play ball. The Braves took advantage there and grabbed a 1-0 lead. And then, Chris Sale was moving right along. He had allowed just one hit. Dustin May had allowed just one hit. And then the 6th inning came along and the Dodgers broke it open. Ohtani had the second hit of the game, his first hit in 3 games. Second of the night for the Dodgers. It came with 2 strikes. Again, the Dodgers, this was something they did a lot. I remember talking about this regularly down the stretch last year. Just hitting with 2 strikes was a sweet spot for the Dodgers, and it continues to be that way this year. 7 of their 9 hits last night with 2 strikes. Tonight, same thing. I don't know exactly how many of their total hits, but I know they had at least 2 or 3. Tonight, they finished with just 5 hits. I think they had 3 with 2 strikes. So getting late in the count is a comfortable spot for them. So Ohtani, the base hit to get on base there. Second hit of the night for the Dodgers. His first in 3 games came with 2 strikes. And then Mookie launched one, his 3rd go-ahead home run this year for the Dodgers, 369 feet. He loves that down and in pitch. It was similar to the one he hit out in the walk-off on Saturday night. Just swinging the bat really well right now. Although he doesn't have a ton of hits, that was his second hit in this series. 1 for 3 tonight, 2 RBI, batting .375. Shohei 1 for 4, average at .280, slugging at .560. Mookie's slug is up to .938 now. Tommy Edman then got a hit. He was 1 for 4 on the night, .250 batting average, slugging it at .570. So he's staying hot. And then Teoscar Hernandez Cade with a runner on, which was a little surprising to me in that at bat because he was just fouling off ball after ball after ball. This was right after Chris Sale got the heave-ho. Johnson came in, and I thought Teo was on him because he was just making contact, trying to find the pitch that he wanted. And then there was a curveball kind of right over the plate. Didn't seem too wicked at all, and Teo whiffed on it. But Will Smith then came up an RBI single. Nice job of hitting, shortened up his stroke, poked one through the right side past second base to make it 3-1. And that would be all that they needed. Next inning, in the bottom of the top of the seventh, rather, Teo made a fantastic catch leaning over into the stands. That was part of Vesia's unhittable inning where he was just absolutely dominating. So everything working well for the Dodgers. Still 7-0 to start the season, tying the record for the most wins by a defending champion to start a season, tying with the murderous row Yankees of 1933 with Ruth and Gehrig and all of those guys. So they're in a good spot right now, and I think all we can do is just enjoy the ride. I know for a fact that the Dodgers will cool off, and they'll have a period of time this season where things aren't rolling this smoothly. But let's be honest, it's not going to be anything that should get in their way of causing them to not cruise into the playoffs and more than likely defend their world championship. The way that they're playing now, the amount of depth that they have is remarkable. It is, as I've said before, it's an embarrassment of riches. But right now, it's fun to watch. I mean, it is enjoyable. It is stress-free. And, let's hope it continues. I know there's going to be a time this summer where they hit a skid for a little bit. But fortunately, I feel like this team is so deep and has such good pitching that I don't think it's ever going to be a huge issue. The way they're rolling right now with this pitching staff and this bullpen, they are tough to beat. So they look for their second consecutive sweep tomorrow. They will get underway at 5:30. Snell will take the mound looking for his second win of the season. And then they head out on the road. Again, 5:30 start tomorrow. And we will be right here breaking it down for you with instant reaction on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel when it is over. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. Again, if you want a longer, more in-depth breakdown of this game and what's going on with the Dodgers, a more in-depth examination, if you will, make sure you check out Jeff and Vince on the daily Locked On Dodgers podcast, also right here on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. Thanks a lot. Take care. Have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.